So a couple years ago, while we were doing all the paint in the house and all the flooring and all the trim and everything, we decided to go ahead and change the doors of our house. Before there was just the cheap hollow core doors. Previous owners had painted it white, didn't look good anywhere, wanted to get rid of them, so we got rid of all those. We found these Knotty Alder doors that we really liked, and we bought those for all the interior doors in the house and then also for the exterior doors in the house, and we just loved those. When it came to the closets that had these sliding doors, they had the same sliding hollow core doors that were just painted white. So we got rid of those, assuming that someday we'd be able to find some Knotty Alder doors that would match all the rest of the doors in the house, and we could put those up. So while we were doing all the other stuff, we went and built our own door jambs here and trimmed it all out and everything, and we're happy with that. And then it came time to get the Knotty Alder closet doors, and we couldn't find any. And so we looked and looked and looked and couldn't find any, so I decided I was going to go ahead and try to build my own. Now, in the past, I have done a little bit of cabinetry. I've done like shaker style doors for cabinets with the rails and stiles, but didn't have a lot of experience with it, so I was a little overwhelmed trying to do that for these giant closet doors that would be very visible. The cabinetry I'd done were like laundry room cabinetry or garage cabinetry. So this was going to be very big, very visible, but decided to go ahead and try to figure it out. So watch some videos, and here is my journey of making these closet doors.
So the first step is just to check all the boards, using the level to check for straight and curvy and warped. Also looking at the knots. I knew I was going to be gluing the boards together, and so I started to pair them up so that if there were curves, then two boards with the same curves would go together, just kind of spinning them around and getting them generally oriented. After getting them paired up, I took them in for gluing. This was my first time using this much glue in one application, and I found squeezing the glue to be quite a workout. But I got this silicone roller that made spreading out the glue really, really easy, and because it was silicone, once the glue dried, it peeled right off. Gluing the boards together was actually really easy. You just kind of line them up the best you can and clamp them together. I didn't have to worry at all about the squeeze out because I knew that I was going to be cutting all four sides around the boards. Once I got boards 3 and 4 glued together, then I stacked boards 3 and 4 on top of 1 and 2. That way I could just use the same set of clamps, saving myself a lot of clamps and a lot of space. I also think having all those layers of boards clamped together helped them to glue more straight. Once the glue is dry, I took all the clamps off and took the boards out in their pairs out to be cut. Cutting the boards to length was pretty straightforward. I just made sure to cut the ends to give myself a nice square cut and get rid of the glue squeeze out. I did find on the long side of the boards though there was some glue squeeze out that kept the boards from lying flush against the saw fence, so I had to kind of scrape off that squeeze out so that I could get it close up to the fence. For the long sides, I got to use my track saw. This is a new tool for me, and it's such a treat to use. You just measure the ends, lay the track down, it just magically kind of sticks on the boards, doesn't move at all. You get a nice straight cut, just flip the board around and do it again. After cutting the stiles, I looked at them and marked them for the inside door, outside door, left side, right side. To set up the saw for the groove cuts, I used these little metal blocks to get the spacing just perfect. Then I used a scrap piece of wood to test out the cut. Once I was happy with the cut, then I cut the grooves in the stiles. I used another scrap block to test out the tongue. And once I was happy with that, I cut all the tongues in all of the stiles. This is when I really started getting excited. I thought I had all the cutting done for the rails and stiles, and so it was time to dry fit them together and make sure it all worked right. Until I discovered that I didn't put a tongue in one of the stiles. So back to the saw I go. And once I got that tongue in there, then I was able to put all the pieces together and see if they looked like doors. I had to do a little convincing with the mallet to get everything to fit together, but I wanted it to be snug, so that was totally fine. And once they were all together, I was very pleased with how they turned out. The stiles are a little bit longer than they need to be, and I left them that way so that I'd have some wiggle room with the top and bottom rails. But here I'm just checking to make sure that everything is square. I'm checking the top panel and the bottom panel, I'm checking the whole door, and I'm just adjusting everything to get the final dimensions exactly what I want them to be. Then I marked each joint with some faint pencil lines so that I could get them right back to where they are after gluing. And now that I have the final dimensions for the panels, I can cut them. I didn't film the final assembly. It was just a huge pain getting all those pieces glued in the right order, fitting together, clamped and everything. But you can see here that I've got the doors glued together. And I'm just using this wood filler to fill in any gaps. Once the wood filler was dried, I used the orbital sander and just sanded down all of the filler and all the joints and just got everything nice and smooth. I did have a bunch of knots that needed to be filled in, and on the other doors in our house they used a black wood filler, so I wanted to do the same thing on these doors so that they would match the rest of the doors in the house. It was pretty straightforward. You use a wood filler like before, but you add in a tinting paste. So you just add in a couple drops and mix it up until you get the color that you want. And then you just spread it around in the holes and treat it like normal wood filler. Once that dries, it doesn't look very good, but then you just sand it down and take off the whole top layer, and then what's left is just the black wood filler in the knot hole, and it looks really good. For the next steps, I'm going to need access to both sides of the doors at the same time. So I took 2 screws and mounted them in the bottom and the top. And then I put the screws onto sawhorses, and that allowed me to flip the door over without touching either the front or the back of the door. My wife really likes this Acryclear by Miller Paint. It's a low VOC clear coat that we've used on all of our interior doors, as well as all the trim. And here you can see those screws making it really easy to flip a wet door and get to the other side. I think I did 4 or 5 coats of the clear coat, making sure to sand and wipe in between each coat. The pocket handle was pretty easy to install. You just kind of measure for the middle, use a Forstner bit to drill down, do some cleanup, then you can just kind of press fit the handle inside the hole. Now these doors are going to be quite a bit heavier than normal closet doors, so I found this heavy-duty hardware kit. Each door is going to have 2 wheel sets like this. Each wheel set has 3 metal wheels with bearings, and the wheels slide really easily in the track. And then there's a little quick release that allows you to separate the wheels from the bracket for installation. I was really pleased to see that the recommended mounting location caused the bracket to straddle right over the joints, because I knew that would be the most secure. The tracks were pretty straightforward. You just kind of cut them to length and use some longer screws to securely mount them to above the closet. For some reason I didn't film the door installation, but here I am just putting the guide on the bottom to keep the doors from swinging around. And then there's this little stopper that you put on the inside of the front door. Well, we are super happy with how these doors turned out. People come over and they don't even know that all the rest of the doors in the house were purchased, and these closet doors I made from scratch, so I'm very happy with that. The sliders are amazing. These heavy doors glide really easily and really smoothly, so they're super easy to use. And you can definitely tell that I did this whole project in one day because I'm wearing the same shirt that I was wearing at the beginning of the video, so you know that this was a one-day project. I learned a lot though, had fun, and ended up with some really nice doors, so I'm going to count this project a big win.